Okay, so you send us a ton of stuff about this company called SG Mart Ltd.
SG Mart.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it looks like you're really trying to get a handle on how they did in Q2 of FY25.
Right.
So basically, we're going to take a deep dive into this B2B construction marketplace.
Cool.
Um, think of it this way, like you're trying to build a house,
Yeah.
but instead of going to like a lumber yard and then a place for bricks and all that stuff, you go to one giant online marketplace.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what SG Mart is. It's like specifically for construction materials in India.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like you want to understand not just what they're selling, but how well they're doing, what's kind of driving their performance, and maybe even get a sneak peek into their future.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's jump into it. Let's start with some of the headline figures.
Okay.
Their revenue is up a massive 259% year over year.
Wow.
And a solid 59% compared to last quarter.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's like planting a little sapling, and then like a few months later, it's like a giant tree. It's crazy.
Yeah, explosive growth, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But before we get too carried away,
Yeah.
let's take a closer look at their profit.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a mixed bag here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so year over year, their profit shot up by a hefty 80%.
Okay.
But compared to last quarter, it actually dipped by 39%.
So what's going on there?
That's a good question, and that's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
So SG Mart's saying that these crazy swings in steel prices are the main reason for that dip in profit.
Ah.
Now remember, they really started out focused primarily on steel.
Right.
So these price changes up and down really have a big impact on their bottom line.
Okay, so it's like they're building this amazing house.
Yeah.
But the price of lumber is like changing like every day.
Right.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
It makes it really hard to plan.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it highlights key risks they face, right? They're
Yeah.
kind of at the mercy of these external factors that are influencing how much their core materials cost.
Right, so they don't have a ton of control over that.
Exactly.
Okay, but despite all that, their overall growth story is pretty remarkable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've dramatically increased like the number of customers and vendors on their platform.
That's great.
They've expanded to 27 product categories.
Wow.
That's everything from steel and cement to like tiles and even bathroom fixtures. And now they're boasting over 2,500 different products. Or SKUs, as they call them.
Okay.
It's like they're building this giant warehouse, and like every few weeks, they're adding a whole new aisle.
Yeah, totally.
It's wild, but it seems like they're not just focused on adding more and more stuff.
Yeah.
They're also paying attention to like how efficiently they operate and how happy their customers are.
Right.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of emphasis in these documents on operational efficiency and customer satisfaction.
Makes sense.
It seems like they know that like a smooth, reliable experience is crucial for building that trust and loyalty, especially in a market that's always been all about personal relationships.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to bring that warmth and that personal touch of your local hardware store to this massive online marketplace.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, construction is about more than just materials. It's about relationships. That's about trust.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this company that's growing like crazy, expanding their offerings, navigating these wild steel prices.
Right.
But what about their overall financial health?
Yeah.
Are they building this business on solid ground?
Well, from what I'm seeing, they have a very healthy net cash position, over 10.8 billion rupees.
Wow, that's a nice little cushion.
It is a nice cushion to have.
Yeah, especially when you're in a growth phase.
For sure.
And it looks like their operations are generating positive cash flow.
Yeah, they are.
Which means they're actually making money from like their core business activities.
Exactly.
Okay, so they've got cash coming in, and a good chunk of it's just sitting in the bank. So far, so good.
It is.
But there is this one little detail in their financial statements that I think deserves a closer look.
What's that?
It's something called their working capital cycle.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and it's basically like a measure of how efficiently they're turning their inventory and sales into cash.
Okay.
And what we're seeing is that it's dipped into the negative, which is kind of like a little yellow flag waving at us.
Yeah.
It suggests that their cash conversion cycle has slowed down a bit.
Gotcha.
So imagine this, like you're running a lemonade stand.
Okay, I like this.
You buy your lemons, you buy your sugar, you make your lemonade, you sell your lemonade.
Yeah.
The working capital cycle is basically how long it takes to go from buying those lemons to getting paid for that lemonade.
Makes sense.
And a negative working capital cycle means that it's taking a little longer for SG Mart to collect that cash from their sales.
I see.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, especially for a company that's growing as fast as SG Mart.
Yeah.
But it's something we need to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah.
So going back to the lemonade stand, it's like you've got this line of thirsty customers.
Yeah.
But you're waiting for them to pay before you can go buy more lemons.
Gotcha.
You're still making lemonade, you're still selling lemonade,
Yeah.
but your cash flow is a little bit tight.
Right.
Okay, so for SG Mart, they've got a lot of cash on hand, so they're not exactly like strapped for cash.
Right.
But it does kind of highlight the need for them to be really careful about their financial management as they scale up.
Totally.
So picture this, you're a construction company in India. You need materials.
Yeah.
In the past, you'd have to call up a bunch of different suppliers,
right.
haggle over prices, wait weeks for deliveries.
Yeah.
It was a very time-consuming and often frustrating process.
Very inefficient.
Yeah. And then along comes SG Mart,
Right.
offering this digital platform that promises to like totally streamline the whole experience.
They're like the Amazon of construction materials, right? Bringing that convenience and transparency of online shopping to this very offline industry,
Exactly.
which can be a game changer.
Yeah. And they're tapping into a market that is ripe for this kind of disruption.
It is.
The construction materials market in India is massive.
Huge.
Worth over 6 trillion rupees.
Wow.
But the current level of digital penetration is surprisingly low.
So there's a lot of room for growth.
Yeah, it's like this huge bustling market where everyone is still doing business the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
And SG Mart sees this as like a massive opportunity.
It is.
To kind of bring this whole industry into the 21st century.
Exactly.
Okay, so every marketplace needs like a unique selling proposition.
Yeah.
Something that sets it apart from the competition.
Mm-hmm.
What makes SG Mart stand out from the crowd?
That's the key question.
Yeah, what's their right to win?
So their secret weapon is their really close relationship with steel producers.
Ah, okay.
Now remember, their sister company is actually India's largest steel buyer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this gives them like unparalleled access to the supply side.
Okay.
And probably some pretty sweet deals on pricing.
Yeah, I bet.
So they've got this built-in advantage.
Right from the start.
Right from the get-go.
But how does that actually translate into benefits for their customers, the buyers on their platform?
Well, here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Because of these strong relationships with the steel producers, SG Mart can offer something that's really valuable to their customers.
Okay.
Consistent pricing.
Okay.
Reliable supply.
Yeah.
And no minimum purchase requirements.
Now that's huge.
It is.
Because I imagine like traditional steel mills often have these like crazy high minimum orders.
Yeah, they do.
Which can be a huge barrier for like smaller construction companies or individual contractors.
Right. It's like you're trying to buy a whole truckload of lumber when you only need enough to build a doghouse. And SG Mart removes that obstacle completely.
So it's like they're democratizing access to these construction materials. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's not just about those minimum orders.
Right.
They're also addressing those other pain points that we talked about.
Yeah, like the long lead times for deliveries and the lack of transparent pricing that you see in that traditional construction materials market.
Yeah, it's all about bringing that transparency and efficiency.
By bringing everything online.
Right onto that digital platform.
And remember, it's not just about steel anymore.
No.
Their expansion into 27 product categories, everything from tiles and cement to bathroom fittings and paint.
Yeah.
It shows that they really have this vision to be the one-stop shop for all construction needs.
They want it all.
Yeah. So it's like they're not just building a marketplace.
Right.
They're building like an ecosystem, a whole world of construction solutions that revolves around their platform.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
Okay. So we've explored their financial performance, their strategic investments, these ambitious expansion plans, but we're not done yet.
What else is there?
There's one more piece of the puzzle that we need to examine.
Okay.
And I think that's where we should pick up in part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
We'll dig into their operational strategies, how they're building trust and loyalty in this traditionally relationship-driven market, and explore what's fueling their remarkable growth.
All right, I'm ready.
So join us next time as we continue to unpack this really fascinating story of SG Mart.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so welcome back.
Back for more.
Yeah. Last time we laid the foundation, getting to know SG Mart,
Right.
their impressive growth, their ambitious expansion, and how they're kind of shaking up the construction materials market in India.
Yeah, they're making waves.
Now it's time to put on our hard hats and delve deeper
Let's do it.
into the nuts and bolts of their operation.
All right. It's time to examine the blueprints of their success.
I like that.
The blueprints.
So we touched on their financial performance.
We did.
But let's really unpack those numbers.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Starting with that dip in profitability.
Right.
During Q2 of FY25,
Right.
we saw that their profit compared to the previous quarter was down 39%.
Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise.
But over the entire year, their profit actually jumped by 80%.
Yeah, it did.
So it seems like we need to look beyond just one quarter to really get the full picture.
Absolutely. It's like comparing a snapshot to a time-lapse video.
Okay, I like that.
You need that whole story.
Yeah.
To really understand what's going on.
Remember that volatile steel market we talked about?
Oh, yeah.
Those short-term price swings can definitely impact their profits.
For sure. It's like trying to build a house during an earthquake.
Oh, wow.
Things are going to get shaken up a bit.
Yeah.
But if you look at the long-term trend,
okay,
they're clearly making money, and they're making it at an increasing rate.
Yeah. Their net profit for the first half of FY25 is over 422 million rupees.
Wow.
Compared to just over 102 million in the same period last year.
That's massive.
Yeah. It's a jump of more than 312%.
It's clear they're onto something.
Yeah.
They're building something special.
And remember that big pile of cash they have?
Yeah.
That 10.8 billion rupees in net cash?
It's not just sitting there.
It's not just gathering dust.
No, they're using it.
They're using it to fuel their growth.
Exactly.
Right? I'm seeing in their cash flow statement some pretty serious investments.
Oh, yeah.
They're putting a lot of money into things like property, plant, and equipment.
Makes sense. They need that infrastructure.
Yeah, it sounds like they're really building out the infrastructure
Yeah.
to support even more growth.
Like they're constructing this massive warehouse, complete with conveyor belts and forklifts and maybe even an army of robots.
I love that image.
To manage all those construction materials.
Yeah. But they're also making some strategic investments in other companies.
They are.
Which suggests that they're, expanding their reach and capabilities beyond just their core marketplace.
So it's like they're not just building a house, they're building a whole neighborhood.
I love these analogies.
It paints a picture.
Yeah, it does.
But hold on. I'm also noticing that while their operating cash flow is positive,
Okay.
meaning they are generating cash from their core business,
Right.
the pace has slowed down a bit compared to last year.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it could be related to that negative working capital cycle we talked about.
Right.
Remember, that's a measure of how quickly they're converting their inventory and sales into actual cash.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit more.
Yeah, let's simplify it.
For our listener, imagine you're running that lemonade stand again.
Okay.
You buy lemons, sugar.
Yeah.
You make lemonade, you sell it.
Right.
The working capital cycle is basically how long it takes to go from buying those lemons to actually getting paid for that lemonade.
Makes sense.
And a negative working capital cycle just means it's taking a little bit longer for SG Mart to collect that cash from their sales.
Gotcha.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, especially for a company in super growth mode.
Yeah.
But it's something to kind of keep an eye on.
To monitor.
Yeah. So going back to the lemonade stand,
Okay.
it's like you've got this line of thirsty customers.
Yeah, they want that lemonade.
But you're waiting for them to pay you.
Okay.
Before you can go out and buy more lemons.
I see.
You're still making lemonade, you're still selling it.
Yeah.
But your cash flow's a little tight.
They're a little strapped.
Now, in SG Mart's case, they have a lot of cash on hand.
Yeah, they do.
So they're not exactly strapped.
Right.
But it does highlight that they need to be really careful about their financial management.
Yeah, for sure.
As they scale up.
As they grow.
So we've got rapid growth.
Yeah.
We've got strategic investments. And a bit of a slowdown in their cash conversion cycle.
Right.
What does all this mean for their overall financial health?
Well, they have a strong net cash position.
Okay.
Very little debt.
Yeah.
And they're profitable.
That's great.
So those are all really good signs of a healthy business.
But as we've seen,
Yeah.
their recent performance highlights that it's important to keep a close eye on these financial metrics.
Yeah, definitely.
As they continue to grow.
As they scale.
Yeah. So it's like they're building a skyscraper.
Okay.
And they need to make sure that foundation is strong enough
Absolutely.
to support all those floors.
They don't want it toppling over.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of building,
Yes.
let's talk about another key aspect of their success.
What's that?
Their expansion strategy.
Right.
So they started with steel, but now they're branching out into all sorts of construction materials.
Yeah, they want to be that one-stop shop.
Right.
The ultimate destination for everything a construction company or a contractor could need.
But is it really possible for them to replicate that success they had with steel across such a diverse range of products?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, construction materials, it's a pretty fragmented and complex market.
It is.
You're absolutely right.
Each product category has its own dynamics, its own supply chains, its own set of competitors.
So it's not as simple as just adding more products to their website.
No.
They really need to understand like the nuances of each category and adapt their approach accordingly.
It's like trying to build a house using materials from 100 different countries.
Ooh.
You've got to figure out how to make them all work together.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
So they can't just copy and paste what they did with steel.
Right.
They need to forge new partnerships.
Yeah.
Maybe even acquire companies that have expertise in these new areas.
Because if you're like a construction company and you're buying cement, you want to know that you're dealing with a company that knows cement.
Right. Not just a platform that happens to sell it.
Exactly.
Along with 1,000 other things.
And that's where their focus on building a strong brand and delivering exceptional customer service comes in.
Totally.
It's about building that trust, establishing themselves as like the go-to partner.
Yeah, the trusted source.
Across all these different categories.
And that takes time.
It does. And actually...
So it's not just about transactions, it's about building those relationships.
Absolutely.
Just like in the traditional construction market.
It's about that human touch.
Yeah, that personal connection.
And that's what makes SG Mart so interesting. They're taking the best of both worlds.
The efficiency and transparency of a digital platform and the human touch of a trusted partner.
Right.
And they're combining them.
They're blending it all together.
To create something truly unique.
It's a powerful combination.
Okay, so we've explored their financial performance. Their strategic investments. Their ambitious expansion plans.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, but we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
There's one more piece of the puzzle that we need to examine.
All right.
And that's where we'll pick up in part 3.
We're going to step outside SG Mart's walls and take a closer look at that competitive landscape.
The jungle out there,
it
can be fierce.
So who else is vying for a piece of this massive market?
Right. Who are the other players?
What threats do they need to be aware of?
So join us for that final part of this deep dive as we explore the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for SG Mart.
Welcome back to our deep dive into SG Mart.
All right.
We've seen their impressive financials, their ambitious expansion plans, and how they're bringing this like digital revolution to the Indian construction materials market.
They're pretty amazing.
But, you know, every successful business eventually attracts competition.
That's right. It's like building a beautiful house and then suddenly realizing,
oh, no,
you've got neighbors moving in next door.
Yeah.
Some might be friendly. Others, maybe not so much.
Okay, so who exactly is SG Mart up against in this, like, battle for construction supremacy?
Well, it's kind of a David and Goliath situation. On one side, you've got those traditional players.
Okay, the old guard.
Yeah, those offline distributors and wholesalers who've been doing business the old-fashioned way for decades.
Right, they've been around forever.
Yeah, they've got deep roots in the industry.
Okay.
Long-standing relationships and a deep understanding of those local markets.
So they've got experience.
They do.
Okay.
It's like they've been building houses in the same neighborhood for generations.
But their challenge is adapting to like this digital age, right? Yeah. Offering that kind of seamless, transparent experience that customers are starting to expect.
It's like they're trying to build a skyscraper.
Oh.
Using only hand tools.
They might have the skills and the experience, but they need to like embrace new technology to really stay competitive.
Because customers today, whether they're buying groceries or construction materials, they want convenience, speed, and transparency.
And that's where SG Mart really has this distinct advantage, bringing that ease of online shopping to this very offline industry.
It's a game changer.
But let's not forget, those traditional players still have some tricks up their sleeves.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, they often have lower overhead costs.
Right.
And sometimes they can leverage that local knowledge to offer more personalized services.
That personal touch.
That a digital platform might struggle to replicate.
It's like the difference between ordering furniture online and going to a local craftsman who can build you a custom piece.
Right.
Sometimes that personal touch and local expertise can make all the difference.
So it's not just about being online.
Wow.
It's about understanding those nuances of the market and meeting those specific customer needs.
Basically.
But SG Mart's not the only tech-savvy player in town, right?
Oh, no.
There must be other digital marketplaces trying to get a piece of this action.
Yeah, that's where the real competition heats up.
Okay.
We're seeing this whole wave of new entrants in this B2B construction marketplace space.
All vying for a piece of that massive...
It's a big pie.
Yeah.
6 trillion rupee pie.
It's like a digital gold rush.
It is.
Everyone's staking their claim in this rapidly evolving market.
So what are these digital rivals bringing to the table?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Are they specializing in specific niches?
Okay.
Or are they trying to match SG Mart's breadth of offering?
Yeah, are they trying to do everything?
It's a mix.
Okay.
Some are focusing on those specific product categories.
Okay, so like just cement.
Yes, cement, tiles, things like that.
Okay.
While others are aiming to be more comprehensive, just like SG Mart.
So everyone's kind of trying to figure out their strategy.
They are.
Okay.
Each competitor has its own strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
Some might have a slicker tech platform.
Okay.
Others might have a more robust logistics network.
Right.
And some might be focusing on regional dominance.
So they're trying to like dominate a particular area.
Yeah, a particular region.
Okay.
So it's a multi-front battle.
Everyone's coming at it from different angles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each player is trying to outmaneuver the others.
But amidst all this competition, what really sets SG Mart apart?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
We talked about their right to win.
Yeah, their secret sauce.
But how does that actually translate into like a sustainable advantage in this really crowded marketplace?
Well, their close relationship with steel producers remains a key differentiator.
Okay.
It gives them an edge in terms of sourcing, pricing, and potentially even product innovation.
So they can get better prices, they can get access to like the latest and greatest products, and they can maybe even influence the development of new products.
Yeah, it's a powerful position to be in.
Yeah, it is.
And as they expand into new categories, they're really strategically leveraging this strength to forge new partnerships and secure like those favorable terms.
So they're using that steel advantage as leverage.
Exactly. It's like they're building this fortress around their core steel business and then using that as a launching pad
to conquer new territories.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, but even the strongest fortresses have vulnerabilities, right?
They do.
And for SG Mart, one of those is definitely their dependence on that volatile steel market.
Yeah,
we saw how those price swings really impacted their profitability.
It can be a wild ride.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword.
It is.
It's a source of strength, but also a potential weakness.
A balancing act.
And then there are those external factors that they can't control.
Those are the wild cards.
Right, like economic downturns, regulatory changes.
Yeah, even geopolitical events.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
Those are the things that can keep you up at night.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a constant balancing act.
They need to manage their internal operations.
Right.
Navigate this competitive landscape. And adapt to this constantly changing external environment.
It's a lot to juggle.
It's like a pretty challenging job.
It is. But it's also what makes this whole story so fascinating.
Okay.
They're pioneers.
Yeah.
They're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
In the Indian construction materials market.
Exactly. They're not just selling construction materials.
Right.
They're building a future where technology empowers businesses, streamlines processes, and really transforms a whole industry.
So as we stand here on like the top floor of this skyscraper of knowledge.
We've come a long way.
We have.
It's been quite a climb.
What's the final takeaway for our listener?
Yeah. What does it all mean for SG Mart's future?
Well, I think it means we're witnessing the rise of a company that has the potential to become a dominant force in this rapidly evolving market.
They have a real shot.
Yeah.
But their journey is far from over.
Right. It's just the beginning.
They're going to face challenges.
Yeah, for sure.
From both those traditional players
right.
and these new digital entrants.
And they're going to have to navigate a really complex and constantly changing landscape.
It's a tough road ahead.
It is.
But it's also an exciting one.
So it's a story of ambition, innovation, and resilience.
And the ending is yet to be written.
But by taking this deep dive together, we've kind of equipped ourselves with the knowledge and the insights.
The tools we need to understand what's really shaping SG Mart's journey.
And appreciate how complex it is to build a successful business in today's world.
It's no walk in the park.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
Your deep dive into SG Mart is complete.
We made it.
We hope you found it insightful and engaging.
I hope so.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and fascinating topic.
I can't wait.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning,
keep digging,
and keep building a